very good morning. On request of few of the students, we are now covering one of the very important topics, and that is understanding the reading comprehension passage. So in this June examination, there were two passages from 19 June and 25th June which were found relatively difficult. So what we are trying to do in this session is to cover those two reading comprehension questions and see how you can actually solve those. So most of the answers for reading comprehension questions would be available within the passage. So read the passage very carefully. Those from regional language can use the bilingual content which is present in the examination copy. Now this passage specifically talks about a capitalist society. So it says that whenever there is a capitalist system, it does not bring in healthy relations for human beings, because the means of production are controlled by very few people, and then for the others the things are being imposed. Now what is the basic idea here is it promotes the worship of economic power, and there is little regards to the means employed to acquire it and the ends that it serves. That means ultimately what is the message we are getting from this passage is that human beings are exploited, and the major focus is on largest profit and not the production. Now the second paragraph is further interesting. Many of the students found second paragraph difficult considering the technical words that have been used, but the idea here, if you go through, even the last line of the passage brings it very clear that the system imposes injustice, religion justifies it. So the idea here is that capitalism is meant to create economic inequality, damage the human values, and religion, instead of questioning it or challenging it, it is actually validating it, that you would get a spiritual comfort for the worldly pain that you have acquired, and that is something that would be established in the future, right? So that is how religion is trying to justify the idea of capitalism rather than challenging or questioning the idea of capitalism. So this is the whole idea that we have from this passage. Now based on this passage, what could be inferred about capitalist system? Of course, as we said, that it is a biased system, because even religion is trying to justify it rather than challenge it. Also, in the very first few lines, we have seen that it imposes injustice, right? So when there is a question of injustice being mentioned here, that clearly shows that there is a biasness that exists. The next question says capitalism is a system where the end justifies the means, and that is again clearly given here, that the end that it serves, right? So the end justifies the means that are being used for acquisition, right? So it focuses only and only on the result, which is the end, which is economic power, and that is concentrated in the hands of few. Now capitalist system focuses on what? So it focuses on largest production, largest profit, and not the maximum production. That is already given there. We already highlighted this line, right? So it focuses on largest profit rather than maximum production. The maximum production gets incorrect. There is not the question which talks about the exploitation of human being, right? So investment on human being is totally incorrect. Reduction of expenditure is yes correct, because the idea is largest profit, as in the same sentence we have seen. So largest profit would automatically come when you are reducing the expenditure, and this is by exploiting the human population, right? So minimize the cost of labor, and this would lead to largest ever profit motives. So 4 becomes the correct focus here. The next is maximum control over the means of production is under the owners of the system, which are very few, given again in the first 2 lines of the paragraph. And the last one is capitalism is detrimental to equality, because of course throughout the passage the idea is that it focuses on bringing in or enlarging the economic inequality. So basically the exploiters and the exploited is what is being explained in this passage. So this was the first passage that we discussed. The second passage is from a different theme, and that talks about parenting. Students from education or psychology background would well understand it, but for others, they might find it difficult. But the idea is very simple. There was a famous person known as Diane Baumrind, and the idea was to understand the parenting, and the study was done on European American middle class preschool children, right? So the word preschool is very, very crucial here. That would be required for your further questions, right? Now, they identified 4 types of parenting styles: authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and rejecting. Now the name itself suggests the content will go through that, but all of these 4 are, although different styles of parenting, the idea is to ensure the way the child is being brought up. So rejecting parents are also called as uninvolved or neglecting parents. They don't have a lot of warmth or control. They leave the children free. They don't care. They don't bother, and they don't control the communication or teaching of the child. The next is permissive parents. They have very high affection, but they do not have control. So they are just simply themselves like kids with the children. So they keep playing, enjoying, and that's it. They do not exert any kind of control or authority. Now, authoritarian and authoritative are very, very important. Not same, different. Under authoritarian, it's like a rule of law. So there is less warmth. Although the parent love the child, but they would never show that they are openly affectionate to the child. They would have cool and controlled environment and would always say, I said so, so this should be done, right? So that is authoritarian, a kind of style which is close to being a dictatorial form, right? The next is authoritative. Authoritative parents set the limits, enforce rules, and expect a mature behavior. They are having high amount of warmth, but at the same time they have a high control because there is a mutual exchange. They listen to the concerns of the child, they give explanations, they help them understand, but at the same time they allow a democratic decision where the punishments are less strict, more guided, and they allow the child to let them bear the consequences of their actions. Now, the Baumrind's research focus on, so this was where I highlighted the first thing. It is not all children, but exclusively the preschool children, right? So 3 is the correct option. The next is authoritarian parents. Now, authoritarian parents in their interaction with the child do all of the following except. Now, they do not love their child, so they do all of this. They expect them to be obeyed. They are cool and controlled. They do not openly show that they are affectionate. However, they are affectionate. So 4 becomes the incorrect option here. And the answer. The next is Baumrind's study focused on American middle class school children. So this is incorrect. Not all school children. It's exclusively on the preschool children. So statement 1 is false. Okay. The second statement is authoritative parents allow democratic decision making because they want that child should face the consequences of their own action. So statement 2 is the correct statement. So 4 becomes the right option here. The next is uninvolved parents are actually the parents who do not show warmth, are non-communicative, do not care about the children, and do not bother to control them, but they do not show warmth. Okay, they do not care, so they are affectionate is incorrect. So A, B, C and E would be the correct options. And the last question based on that the 3 parenting styles, authoritative, authoritarian and permissive, have dissimilar parenting styles. They are not similar, all of them are parenting styles, but they are different. So dissimilar parenting styles would be the correct idea, because they have different ideas in mind in which they bring up the children. So those were some of the questions that we have discussed from reading comprehension. For those who find the reading comprehension section difficult, we do recommend that you do the past papers and practice more. The more you practice, the more you would have the insight on how to solve. Most of the answers are approachable directly within the passage that is given specifically for your UGC NET examination. So read the passage well. You can also use the bilingual method, read the passage in English as well as in Hindi to solve the issue. So thanks for joining. Have a wonderful day.